So in the last episode we did this. We controlled the spoiler of my 964 with an ESP32.
Nice.
The whole idea started because my spoiler extends at 80, but retracts only when the car is almost standing still. And stupid me just doesn't like driving around town with the spoiler up. So I came up with the idea of intercepting the speed signal and modifying it so that the spoiler would behave the way I want. We managed to read the car's original speed signal and generate our own. What started as a simple experiment, we now take 2 steps further. Today we built the first drivable prototype, because right now it looks like this and would probably destroy itself in the first corner. First, we need to turn all the individual components into one proper package. If you look at the ESP32, it has all these tiny pins on the underside. To make wiring easier, I use this adapter board. You simply plug the ESP32 onto it, and then you can connect the wires neatly from the side with the screw terminals. Then we have the optocoupler and MOSFET module from the last episode. New in the group are a step-down converter which reduces the car's 12-volt supply to 5 volts for the ESP32, and a relay, but more on that in a minute. All of this needs a housing so nothing can short out and burn the car to the ground. So I designed one in CAD and printed it on my old Reliable Ender3 printer, which is collecting dust on my drawer for a while now. The design is very simple, a base plate and a lid. On the base plate, each component has its own small frame, which is a tight press fit, so they just snap into place. Now comes the hard part, wiring everything. So let's look at the theory behind it. These are all the components and they need power. But all we get from the car is 12 volts. The 12 volt supply goes into the MOSFET module and into the step-down converter. The step-down converter then supplies 5 volts to the relay and the ESP32. The ESP32 then provides 3.3 volts to the optocoupler. On the signal side, we tap into the car's 12 volt speed signal and feed it onto the optocoupler, which converts it into a safe signal for the ESP32. From there, we send our own signal to the MOSFET module, which converts it back onto a 12 volt signal for the spoiler ECU. Now the relay comes into play. It's basically just a switch that can be triggered by the ESP32 to change the speed signal going to the spoiler ECU from the original source to our modified one. This also acts as a fail-safe mechanism because the ESP32 has to actively hold the trigger for its own signal to pass through. If anything goes wrong, the relay drops back to its default position and the spoiler ECU receives the original signal again. In reality, this means a mix of crimping and soldering wires to connect everything as explained. And at this point I realized that I maybe should have made the base plate a bit bigger, because the more cables I routed, the more crowded it got. With the basic wiring done, we can set up the step-down converter. For that, I feed the board with a 12 volt power supply, and then there is a small adjusting screw on the converter to set the output voltage correctly. Once that's set, we can power up the board with the ESP installed. Hear that relay click? This means the ESP is operating and holding the trigger. The last thing we install is this button here, but more on that later. With everything hooked up, now to the lid. The best way to screw a 3D printed lid on and off more than once is with threaded inserts. They are very common in 3D printing and also very satisfying to install. You melt them into the plastic with a soldering iron. And now let's reveal the rather silly name of this box. It's the 964 SSM, which stands for Spoiler Speed Motor. Not fancy, but at least it tells you exactly what it does. With the lid screwed on, the packaging part is done. A black box, a switch and 3 input and output wires. Back to the car. The goal now is to install the SSM without damaging the factory wiring harness. Inside the connector for the spoiler control unit are these small female terminals. They are Porsche specific, and yes, you can still order them, for about €3 each. Painful, but we only need 3. These terminals fit into the connector housing and onto the control unit pins. so we solder them onto the output wires of the SSM. On the other side, it gets a bit more creative. We need something that fits into the female connectors of the wiring harness inside the car. Those pins need a diameter of 2.5 mm, which is a bit awkward. I found 2 and 3 mm, but neither fit properly. What does work is the female half of a 2 mm connector. Not what it was designed for, but it makes a very snug fit. Those go onto the input side of the SSM. Now we can dismantle the connector. We need ignition 12 volt, ground and the speed signal. Once those are removed, we plug in all the 6 cables from the SSM. 3 go inside the connector and the other 3 into the cables of the wiring harness. Then we can close the connector and plug in the spoiler control unit. Alright, wiring done. Ready for some in-car testing. But how do we know if it works while driving? And how do we set the speeds? Remember that little button? That button activates the ESP32's Wi-Fi. Yes, you heard that right. The 964 has Wi-Fi now. You connect your phone and open a page called spoiler.local and it loads a small website. At the top you see the current speed and the current spoiler state. That's the live data we need to understand what's happening. Below that is a single toggle switch to change between the original and modified signal via the relay. And underneath there are 3 sliders. One for the speed at which the spoiler should extend, one for the speed at which it should retract, and one for the delay time the car has to stay below the retract speed before the spoiler goes back down. The logic behind the code is actually pretty simple. Based on the user settings and the red speed signal, the ESP32 decides what speed it should send to the spoiler ECU. If the spoiler should extend, it is sending 100 km per hour. If the spoiler should retract, then it is sending 3 km per hour. Now we need to drive the car and see if it actually works. Spoiler alert, not at the first try. But that combination of driving, coding, checking and changing something and driving again, that's exactly what I love. It took me about 3 hours to get everything working properly. There were a few things I simply hadn't considered while driving the code at my desk. For example, the spoiler ECU warning light. It comes on by default when you start the car and only goes off once the spoiler control unit sees a proper speed signal, which is higher than the original speed for retracting the spoiler. So at startup, we need to let the original signal pass through first, so the control unit is satisfied and doesn't think there is a fault. Of course, for a hardware point of view, this could all be done much more cleanly with a custom PCB, but this is a prototype built within my own knowledge and limits. So there would be no need for internal wiring at all. The only thing left is to package it a bit more neatly. I didn't bolt the spoiler ECU back onto its metal plate yet, because chances are high I'll need to get back in there, and I really don't want to remove the seat again. For now, I've settled on these settings. 80 km per hour for extending, 60 for retracting, with a 10-second delay. But since all of that is easy to change, it may well evolve in the future. So yeah, that's it. A silly idea brought to life, and I'm pretty happy with it. See you in the next one.